What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Paradigm Shift. I'm joined by my guest today.
What's up, everyone? This is BassOfPJ.
And today we're going to be talking about something that, ironically, is something that I did a year and 2 months ago to the day that I was unaware I was going to have so many parallels to what we're going to be talking about today. Today we're talking about Briahna Joy Gray and more of the Bad Faith podcast. Now, if you remember, for those of you who are into the lore, you remember that I once talked about Briahna Joy Gray a year ago. With the same shirt on, apparently. So apparently this is our Briahna Joy Gray hunting t-shirt. I don't know how it happened. I didn't plan it. I was just pointed out to this, like, literally right before I started this. So that means that you need to hit that like, that subscribe for continuity's sake, because you gotta. So last time we talked about her, she had this really weird take on launching third progressives and the reason why we need to focus more on a third party. Obviously, at the time of uploading and obviously to the time of now, that clearly didn't work out so well. So today, she decided that she wanted to respond to something, and we would like to, in good faith, hear exactly what her response to was. They're stealing Ukrainian children. 500 just yesterday were shipped to Russia, and this is why we should be supporting Ukraine. We cannot allow this kind of evil to go unchecked. Don't you agree with me on that? She said, I'm sorry, I don't, and here's why. Okay, now I gotta do a tab share for you, right? Or will you just hear it through the stream?
I'll just do it through the stream.
Okay, copy.
They're stealing Ukrainian children. 500 just yesterday were shipped to Russia. And this is why we should be supporting them. We cannot allow this kind of evil to go unchecked, just on a basic moral reason. I mean, don't you agree with that?
I'm sorry, I don't. And here's why.
Okay, so before I even give this the benefit of the doubt, we got to talk about the body language. I went on a 2.5-hour rant about Montreal player and how that conversation between me and him went. And to this day, we're good now, so I don't want to hear nothing. He don't even stream no more, so it's not like it fucking matters. Everybody dies at the wayside to the paradigm. That was an unnecessary brag. I'll take it. I told y'all, watch my body language when I'm hearing certain things. Watch me like physically like making a mental note of that doesn't fit together with that or that. This eye roll shit, this, oh my God, I can't believe
kind of evil.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Just on a basic moral reason. I mean,
I don't know if I heard like, yo, we're seeing horrific things happen in Ukraine. Don't you think we should help them? No, obviously not. Like, what type of person would that be? I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to chime in with there. Sorry,
I'm going to hear what
yeah, got you.
Because I think there's like both sides got like ironically enough bad faith happening.
I'm sorry, I don't. And here's
why.
Why?
There are gangs that have overtaken Haiti. There is a cholera pandemic that was started by the UN. UN members raped Haitians. A third of Pakistan was underwater. Should we go, due to the climate crisis, should we go and invade China because Uyghurs are in concentration camps? Tell me, articulate. And this is the question that I asked Matt Dust when this war first started. Until you can articulate to me what the rationale is behind where America intervenes and where it doesn't, and give me some kind of moral accounting that makes me believe that it's actually about moral commitments and realizing how much of our money and our resources in the richest country in the world can go to saving lives and increasing the quality of life for the most people, as opposed to a strategic military intervention for territory, resources, and political control. If you can articulate to me why this is truly the most deserving humanitarian case on the planet, as opposed to a continuation of these Cold War policies, we want our economic system, our oppressive, by the way, economic system to maintain global dominance, then I can start to entertain a conversation about what our intervention should be, how long, and how much. But there is nowhere in the entire public sphere that that conversation is actually happening, and nowhere close to a rationalization that's been presented.
Okay, So yeah, I just got the end of the clip. So what I think is that they're both bad faith here in a sense, is that Bree did the usual whataboutism in response to something that was like kind of like directly put there. Where this guy kind of bad faced a little bit too is it gets like the what are the children type deal. Now, where I will say Bree has to understand, and you know, bombs are actually dropping in Ukraine right now, and they've been for a while, right? And it's also a matter too of like, yeah, you know what, the U.S. can do these other things. They can sit there and help the kids in Ukraine, as well as help the people in Haiti, as well as help the people in Pakistan, right? All these things can be done. It doesn't have to be a this, that, or the other. So like I said, it's just, for me, the overall bad faith about it is that like Bree brings on a guest that's just going to be an easy moralizing, like it's going to try and moralize, and then she just gets her like easy little dunks with it. And it's like, you're talking about, oh, the conversation. It's like, well, what are you doing with that yourself? Right? Like you're just basically sitting in a throne and demanding everybody tell the queen you know what I mean, come to the queen's court in a sense, and prove the world to her in a weird ass way. But if you're just going to just turn around, it's like, okay, well, hey, there's this situation, but but what about this over here? Then we're never going to get an answer for it that's going to satisfy it, right? You know, because it's also a matter of fact too of like, you know, she's talking about, oh, the oppressive economic system and so forth, and it's like, all right, well, politically speaking, here in the United States, you already did the video about it. Her whole like third progressive weird shit, you know, like of just trying to sit there and you know, like basically become the new leader of the left in a sense, you know. And it's like, how did force the vote go? How did all, you know what I mean? Like we can only do so much of we have the work that we can do inside the imperial core, right? You know,
right.
And that's
okay,
the thing.
So that's what I'm hearing from this. I agree that conversation, and I understand that most people who will probably see this in the future, see this conversation, will say something like, you should watch the whole thing before you make an opinion on it. Look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Don't give me the whole like there's always another thing that I need to know about before you post something, you know what you're doing. When you get a stage that starts to get bigger and bigger, when you post a video saying why I left the left, you know that it's because you have enough like push to make that a statement that matters. You know what I mean? For me in geopolitics, it's also worth mentioning that we can say what we should or shouldn't be doing, but the reality is none of us are at the helm of the American government, and we don't. Fuck you, bro. I'm out my mouth. You heard me getting ready to form this point. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. There it is. Here's my problem with this conversation when it comes to the idea of Ukraine. First of all, like the American system of imperialism affects Americans. This is going to be really, really, really difficult for me to say. I want y'all all to tune in because y'all know where I'm going with this. The American imperialistic system affects Americans more than everybody else because all of us are feeling like we're culpable just living here. Does that make sense? Like, we're not talking about literal effects here. We're not talking about like war-torn country. We're not talking about like, we're not doing that. The displacement of we're not allowed to have nuance. Like the displacement of our choices automatically represents a supporting of a regime, whether you wish on it or not. Like, you really can't like tell me how meticulously your data is used. Does that make sense? For all you know, one thing you could have posted about a tweet scene you saw somebody led to like that getting linked to that, to get linked to that, to get linked to a drone strike. Like, you just wouldn't have that, which is you're not supposed to. For that to weigh on a human's head, but you see where the American thing comes into it. For this situation, it's enough to not say, well, think about the kids, because it's like there's dead bodies of everybody. There's dead, like, you don't need to tell me that more and more worse things are happening. But at the same time, I don't want to go and say, well, what about this and what about that? Because it's like, you are then again impressioning upon us this one big thing. And that's why I really wanted to talk about this today. And that's why I'm glad you're here. The idea that Americans, when discussing, just even pontificating on the ideas of why certain leaders do certain things are all through the lenses of this would never happen here. And that's a huge thing. Like, this would never happen here. Therefore, we must put our molding on these things. We have to put our hero comes in and saves it. Now, she asked a very fair question in there. How do we justify this as being necessary and then not justify others? Well, it's like, the problem with that is we not the others. Like, these people have controls of the things. Like, either we are so unaffected that we're naturally affecting other places to go to these extremes, or we are causing this. There has to be one or the other here, because if we continue to and this goes back to people who have streamed on this website, who have talked about, I've gone to Ukraine, this and that and the other. It's always through this strange ass lens of me of, no matter how bad the problem is, there's either something worse that should be addressed first, or there's something that we're ignoring that should be addressed first. So the problem just exists. Is that because of imperialism from an American standpoint, or is that from the war-torn, ravaged view of all politics, of all people, based on what the U.S. has done to these countries to destabilize not only them inside, as we are, and they're standing on the world stage. I've never talked about this much stuff on stream before. I'm sorry. This is season 4 shit. Do you see why, like, I was pushing this all to season 4? Because it's like, doing this off the top of my head is like, you got to be careful with your words. You don't want to say anything wrong. You know, you don't want to get your facts wrong. But I feel like my audience trusts me enough. So this is a season 4 sneak peek. This is the shit I'm going to talk about in season 4, like the world stage. Now that we've applied all these thoughts, these patterns to why I, as a Black person, live in America with these ideals, how does that apply on the world stage? Currently, right now, we're in the season 4. We planned all the way up to season 8. I don't know why y'all don't know that. But what is your, if you have a follow up to that? I know I said a lot, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
No. It's good perspectives in the sense that like we're trying to find silver bullet. Like, if you're talking about the American exceptionalism, as folks are saying, it's like within the American culture, like we want a silver bullet. It's like this one thing and this one move or this one action, it clears it all up, fixes Haiti, fixes Pakistan, fixes Ukraine, brings us world communism and so forth and so on. And it's not. It is a long road and series of events that make these things happen. And like I said, it's just like, you know, you can do this podcast with this guy who's going to come in and like, you know, because it almost sounds a little bit like, you know, just a little bit like, Saddam's taking babies out of the incubators and prenatal units and throwing them on the floor. You know, they used to say that shit during the first Gulf War back in the 90s. But it's, yeah, if you do a podcast against a guy that's arguing that, it's like, what is that accomplishing? What are we really doing with that? Like, you're asking for, you're asking for someone who isn't even in the security structure, from what I understand, to moralize it. Like, go ask the generals. Go ask the general to moralize it. Like, you know, like, because again, even if I were to, even if, just hypothetically, were to try to moralize that man's position or whatever, to, like, who the fuck am I? I'm not the one doing it.
Exactly.
You know, like, I'm not the one doing it.
And that brings up a very great point, and that is the last point I do want to talk to you about now that we've gotten through this, because, you know, the YouTubers don't got the attention span unless I'm talking shit heavy for 14 minutes, so we're not going to give them the satisfaction. With what we just heard, what is it about... Hold on, let me get this thought straight before I say it out loud. Mm-hmm. What is this incessant need for the people who are growing, for the people who are in this, for the people who have the loudest voices? Why the fuck? Why the fuck? do these people, these big podcasters, why don't they ever talk to those people, yo? Why don't they ever talk to, like, try to get it, like, start some shit? Yo, I called out this politician since they want to talk all this and they didn't have the time for an interview. Put pressure on these motherfuckers. Why are we so quick to be inviting people who don't know nothing? Why are we so quick to be inviting people who don't have any, like, material pull if you're trying to reach a conclusion? And that leads me to my are people just having these conversations because it's easy, because we're all the way over here and they don't really give a fuck about the situation at hand, regardless of what the conclusion is of their conversation? Are they just talking to talk?
Yeah. Because I mean, there is something to be said about, like, how there is the installation of the political elites, that they should be held more accountable, especially in terms of, like, town hall meetings within their district. In fact, I think there should be more district work. I think they should actually have the representatives on all three levels of government should be doing more district work. That's when they go back home and work in the home offices, wherever, where they come out of and shit like that, instead of DC. And I mean, why do we have to have them necessarily in DC all the time when there's technology that can be securely doing the debates and the votes and getting things on the record? So I think it is because the big issue is that, like, a lot of times that excuse me, that the legacy medias and the traditional medias will cozy up is because it's a matter of access. Right, because they could just sit there, but you can get the runaround from a politician. They said you call up and try and schedule, like, yo, it's Paradigm. I want to do a podcast interview with you on blah 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 blah. We'll talk with the communications director. Leave a message. Leave a message. Leave a message. Leave a message. And they just burn you out. Right. So there has been a seal, like an insulation that they've done for themselves to the rest of us in terms of, like, having to actually directly answer to the people. So I think, but again, that's what I'm saying. These things that can be done, so it's not just podcasters talking the talk and actually having the opportunity to go to, politicians to, like, get them on, or even not even so much podcasters, like, because, okay, let me just say this. Jimmy Dore talking to AOC, yeah, I understand about the numbers and this, that, and a third if she were to ever go on his show, but it's also a matter of, like, Jimmy, you're in California. What the fuck does that mean to anyone in New York 14?
Exactly.
I'd rather there be, like, a stream of people from New York 14 talking to AOC. I'd rather there be a stream of people from SC1 talking to Nancy Mace. Okay, like, so again, like, yeah, to your point about it, it just feels like it is a talk to talk. You know what I mean? It really does feel like a talk, because there are some structural issues that should be addressed and alleviated to prevent that insulation effect that the politicians and the elites have. Because it even happens with your county government, man. Trying to get a hold of, like, your county commission and shit. They just fucking run your ass around. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, you make $30,000 a year. You know what I mean? Like, you can answer. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, why are you being so serious? But that's the thing. Like, you have that issue of, like, they will go. Look, it's the reason why you see a Ted Cruz. It's the reason why you see a lot of these politicians, like, especially in the Republican Party, straight up just go to just right wing, just go to straight up fucking right wing news outlets. Doug Mastriano refuses to talk to anyone except, like, Right Side Broadcasting and Gab. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Like, and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're talking to the quote fourth estate. You're talking to media, but, like, who's this representing? Who are you really talking to? Who's really giving you questions? You know what I'm saying? Like who aside from the moderator at the one debate you're going to do against Shapiro, against Josh Shapiro, So yeah, like I said, it's some structural shit would be nice. I think, like, changes in the rules within the House and the Senate and the U.S. Congress, as well as on the state level, where you encourage more district work and just allow more telecom work in terms of the stuff that has to happen in the state. Like I said, you can set this shit up with telecom, and everyone can submit their fucking debate. Everyone can submit their 3 minutes. Everyone can submit their 5 minutes. You literally just, like, everyone just makes mixtapes and then just send it in, and then they play it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all they got to do. And then just do you vote yes or no? Push the button or abstain. CIA launched a podcast. Oh my god.
They're trying to ADHD me to death. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the time for this episode today. I would like to give my guest a chance to let us know what you got going on in the works. Let the audience at home know what's happening.
All right, everybody, this is BassOfPJ, twitch.tv/BassOfPJ. It's been a minute since I did these. I am also on Twitter at the number 4_string_fury. The number 4_string fury. I've been taking a break from streaming, but hopefully going to get back into it, doing some music, and probably just chopping up with folks in Lake Paradigm.
Hey, thank you for being on here, and I will hope you have a great night.
You too.
See you, man.